A Quiet Place Part 2 is even more heart-pounding and intense than the first one. The world has been expanded upon outside of the Abbott family barn, where the surviving characters of the first film must wander away from their house after it's destroyed to find other survivors. As the film progresses, we're introduced to new characters that has their own complex reaction and desires to survive in this world overtaken by blind yet lethal extraterrestrial creatures with impenetrable armor, where the only way to survive is by being quiet. But as the movie progresses, silence isn't enough. The film embarks on Regan's journey to make sure her father didn't die in vain after finding out the creature's weaknesses, and now we're on another roller coaster of emotions en route to finding a way to push this weakness on a global scale in order to ensure the remaining human population's survival. And after processing this film, I can confidently say that A Quiet Place Part 2 is a worthy successor. Let me explain. Now, if you remember the way the world was set up in the first film, you should know that the only way to survive is by remaining quiet by any means necessary. But for the unfamiliar, A Quiet Place Part 2 is the sequel to the first film, which sees us following the surviving members of the Abbott family, Evelyn, Regan, Marcus, and the newborn Abbott baby. And after showing us the family's point of view during day one of the invasion, we pick up right where the first film ended. The invading creature in their home is now dead, and after leaving the basement, the surviving family surveys the carnage left from the first film, coming to the conclusion that their home is completely destroyed. But first, Evelyn must return to the bunker to retrieve the oxygen tank so that when the baby starts crying, she can close him in the box with the ability to breathe. Also, Regan has found that high-frequency audio feedback makes the creatures vulnerable enough to be killed. So she creates a portable speaker to ensure that she can use her cochlear implant through the portable microphone. With the barn now destroyed, the family must now leave and try to find other survivors, which means they must leave the same path they created, increasing their chances of being heard, so they must be careful. As the family wanders into the unknown, they enter into a fenced-off area. There, Evelyn unknowingly walks right into a booby trap and accidentally sets off a sound alarm, alerting the creatures their way, forcing them to run. Unfortunately, as they are in the midst of running, Marcus runs right into a bear trap, letting out a massive scream, which his mom tried to cover, but that was not enough because that kid was in pain. But Evelyn and Regan were prepared as they killed the creature with a high-frequency shotgun combo and ran into an abandoned steel foundry. That shotgun blast lured another creature into the foundry. The family runs into an old friend, Emmett, who we met during the opening scene. Here, he lured the family down to the soundproof underground hideout, and unlike how we were first introduced to him, Emmett has since lost his entire family and has developed a cynical outlook on life with no desire to help the family further. While resting, Marcus suddenly hears the song Beyond the Sea playing on the radio. Emmett immediately dismisses it as nothing because the song has been playing on loop for 4 months, while Regan believes that there's more meaning to this particular song being played, and she theorizes that there is someone out there telling them where to look, and if she can reach the island's radio tower, the hearing aid's high frequency noise can be broadcast so other survivors can weaponize the signal against the creatures. Despite protests from her brother, Regan ventures out alone to find the island, and after some pleas from Evelyn to bring her back, Emmett finds and saves Regan from a creature on a destroyed train. Keen on sticking to the plan, Regan tries to and eventually convinces Emmett to join her on her journey so that she can complete this mission. Back at the bunker, Evelyn soon realizes that she needs to step out and get more supplies and oxygen tanks for the baby, and in doing so, she has to leave Marcus and the baby at the foundry to go back into town and receive more supplies. Now let's talk about the moments that I feel was the climax and key moments of this movie. Emmett and Regan arrive at a marina to board a boat to the islands, but they're not alone as they are attacked by a group of bandits who prey on travelers trying to reach the nearby island. Desperate for both of their survival, Emmett deliberately attracts creatures to the dock, and in doing so, the bandits are slaughtered, and in the midst of the chaos, one of their creatures drowned, proving that their other weakness is that the creatures cannot swim. With Evelyn gone, Marcus decides to wander around the foundry for some reason, and in doing so, he stumbles across the corpse of Emmett's wife, which of course startles him to the point where he falls backwards and causes a noise, which of course alerts a creature, and upon trying to get him and his little brother safe, he accidentally locks them both inside the airtight compartment in the bunker. Evelyn returns just in time to prove how much of a badass she is, lures the creature away from the bunker, purposely setting off a fire as a means to cause the sprinklers to go off, once again masking her movements with the sounds of the water flowing, eventually freeing her sons from the compartment before they suffocate. With the bunker now destroyed, Evelyn and her sons must now hide inside the compartment, but this time with the oxygen mask to ensure they don't suffocate. After surviving the events at the marina, including preserving the cochlear implant, Regan and Emmett rode to the island where a small colony of survivors are living normally because the creatures can't get to them. After welcoming the two, the leader of the group reveals that when the US government discovered that the creatures were unable to swim, the US National Guard attempted to move people to the islands via ships, but of course, there was chaos trying to board the ships quietly and safely because you already know people don't know how to shut up even if it saves their lives. The noise from the chaos attracted the creatures, leaving only 2 boats out of 12 that made it to the island safely. The leader then agrees to take the two to the radio station the next morning, which pushes Emmett to apologize to Regan, telling her that she was right all along. The next day at the island, Emmett soon discovers that a creature has drifted to the island on another boat where it attacks the colonists. Desperate to keep them safe, the colony leader, Emmett and Regan, uses a car to lure the creature to the radio station, and there, unfortunately, the colony leader is killed upon panicking about his family.
That's really rough.
Once inside the radio station, Regan and Emmett are immediately met with a struggle while the family is backed against the wall by the lurking creature inside the compartment with nowhere else to go. After evading the creature, Regan finally transmits the high frequency over the station signal and plays it over the speakers, saving Emmett by incapacitating the creature and then killing it with a metal pole, while Marcus picks up Regan's transmission and plays the high-pitched frequency through his portable radio before shooting the creature, saving his mother and brother. With both creatures defeated, Regan leaves the hearing aid connected to the radio station's microphone, allowing the broadcast signal to be weaponized by others. In conclusion, I feel like A Quiet Place Part 2 is definitely a worthy successor because it maintained the sense of urgency and stealth that was established in its predecessor in all the right ways. This film requested everyone to step their game up on this quest of survival, and I feel like everyone delivered. Placing Regan in that feature role now that Lee is gone was a smart decision because, as I stated in the previous video, she is a headstrong individual who was determined to complete her mission of further weaponizing the weakness of the creatures, which in the end proved to be successful as they killed multiple creatures across the film. And despite my frustration with Marcus throughout the film, because I will be real with you, he was frustrating the heck out of me with his decisions. Walk with me right quick. He did not need to wander around that foundry. All he had to do was stay still and stay put until his mother came back. That's it. Dummy. But after processing his actions, remembering how old he is, I came to the conclusion that it's natural for a kid his age to make nonsensical and irrational decisions. But I have to give him some slack because he did make up for it in the end there, where he had no choice but to step up to save his brother and injured mother. Ending the film with both of the Abbott siblings slaying creatures was chef's kiss during this feast of tension that we were served with. I also feel like the addition of Cillian Murphy's character Emmett was good, and his progression from cynical, checked out from the rest of the world to accepting of Regan's plan, as well as understanding that there is hope, was very well executed. And of course, even though Emily Blunt took a slight backseat, her presence was definitely felt with that scene of her saving the kids from the creature inside the bunker. A nice little callback to her using the makeshift waterfall in the first film to drown out the creature's hearing for the time being. Overall, I feel like the film handled everything perfectly from start to finish, and if you haven't seen the sequel yet, before the release of the spin-off prequel, A Quiet Place Day 1 starring Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, which will further expand upon the Day 1 scene that we saw at the start of this film, is definitely worth the watch. Also, upon doing more research for this film from a behind-the-scenes point of view, not only did critics agree with me that the story and addition of the Emmett character was good, I had no idea that despite the film's postponement due to the COVID-19 pandemic, pandemic, it set several box office records, including the biggest opening weekend during the course of the pandemic, and grossed $297.4 million worldwide, pretty much setting up the course for a full-on universe being made, which includes a spin-off film, a third and final film set to be released in 2025 with Krasinski set to return as its director, and a video game being published by Saber Interactive set within a continuation of the films, set to tell an original story, untold story. Listen, man, they are absolutely cooking with this universe if you ask me. All in all, A Quiet Place Part 2 is a pretty worthy successor to the original film. Now, before I sign off, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on A Quiet Place Part 2 if you've seen it before? Do you agree with my thoughts and opinions here, or do you have your own opinion on this film? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more movie reviews and updates from your crew over here at Freeopedia. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Y'all be breezy.